Hi, this is Dina with Pretty Productive. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a hot minute since I have done any videos, whether it be budgeting or planning. So I just want to give you a quick life update, and I want to thank so many of you that reached out to me either on Instagram or on YouTube to say, hey, are you okay? Is your family okay? And I never intended to just disappear, because I always worry about budgeters or planners when they just disappear. Like, are they okay? Is everything, are they fine? And I'm fine. I needed to take a step back. I felt like I was holding my breath the entire year of 2022. There was a lot of changes in my life. I know from my personality, I don't like uncertainty, and particularly I do not like uncertainty as far as money is concerned. And that's exactly what happened. So I needed to take a step back and just kind of, figure this out, take a moment to, not that I did not budget, because that is so ingrained in me right now, but I just needed the time to just figure out what I wanted to do. What did my budget look like? What does my channel look like? What does my store, my Etsy shop look like? What does my work life look like? I needed that step back to kind of figure things out. So I am back. I have figured out a lot. And I've also decided that, I enjoy budgeting. I enjoy the channel. I enjoy interacting with a lot of you and seeing your success stories. And, we all kind of share the same struggles. How do you make ends meet? How, there's so much uncertainty right now between the cost of inflation, the cost of, gas, things like that. So how do you make it all work? So I absolutely love this channel and this community. The second part of this is I realized, and this is really why I started budgeting, is that my channel held me accountable. I couldn't go off the rails if I was filming a video, because I use my real numbers. I use real math. There's no fluff and no, I have 100% transparency on my channel, which is a little hard because most YouTubers do not disclose income, do not disclose their mortgages, things like that. And I totally understand why. But I have always promised to be 100% transparent. So that is a lot of personal information to share. And I share it for a reason. And I share it so that hopefully my story, my budgeting system can help somebody else out. Because I learned to budget from YouTube videos from a lot of you out there. I learned tips and techniques. I learned from reading books like Dave Ramsey. So I think it does need to come from a lot of sources. I'm surprised how many people were not taught budgeting, either in school or by their family. I mean, my mom was a queen budgeter. So, my bad money habits were completely on me. Can't blame her for any of that. So I did kind of take a step back. I have set up my 2023 budget. I did a review of my 2022 budget, and then I'm ready to start setting up for January of 23. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Please let me know if you have any questions, particularly if you are new here. And if you are just joining us, thank you so much for coming along this madness of a budgeting journey, and please consider subscribing. So if you are not new to my channel, this should look very familiar to you. This is how I set up my new budget. I go through my budget book and my bills, my emails, and I write down all of my bills by month, and then I add them up, and then I divide them by the 12 months till I get an average. So for an example, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. My electricity goes from a low of 110 in March to a high of 404 in July. So when I average that out for the month, it's $225. So what I budget every month is $225. So that anything extra, so if I budgeted $225 and my bill came in at 110, I take the balance and I throw it into a sinking fund so that it helps to offset the bills in July, the summertime, just because, yes, my budget can have a little bit of wiggle room, but you don't want it to be so tight when you have the fluctuations. Probably if you lived in an area that was really cold, it would be your heating bill in the wintertime. For me, it's my electricity in the summertime. Most of our other bills pretty much stayed the same. A couple things that we did do this year, when my husband stopped working in April and we started paying our medical insurance, our COBRA, out of pocket, that was kind of a big shock to my budget. So what we recently did going into 2023, while we have COBRA until March of 24, it went up, let's see, we were paying $2,000. It went up $500 in the month of December going into January. So January 1st, we would have been paying $2,600 for medical, dental, and vision insurance. So we went and we started investigating and researching, and we ended up with a company called Thin Blue Line. And it is a company that is designed for the gap in first responders, because my husband retired from the police department, from when they retire to when they're available for Medicare. And at first when we looked into it, we didn't really think it was that great of a policy. But then when we started researching more, they had a different policy that we didn't see, and that was perfect for us. So it cut it down to $1,300 versus the $2,600 that we were gonna have to pay January 1st. So we did that, we just took care of that. We also redid our auto insurance going into August. We're about ready to do that with our phone bill. We're gonna leave AT&T and move on because it just keeps getting more expensive every month, and it's, you know, it's ridiculous how much we're spending on certain things. Things that we have tried to walk away from and can't, like our internet, we still have the, you know, we pay $120 a month, but honestly, it's the best program that we have in Arizona to choose from, so we're just gonna leave it. I also took a hard look on a lot of things on my budget to say, is this necessary? And I kind of grouped them that way when I started to set up my new budget. Is these are optional. So if money becomes tight, I don't really need these things. I do like them, I enjoy them. As long as I'm working, I can, you know, go ahead and fit those in. But if money got really tight, if say my contract wasn't renewed and my husband wasn't working, those are things that could go. Other things are just kind of non-negotiable, like our 4 walls. For starting in 2023, we are going back to paying extra on our mortgage. That is something that I would like to pay off, and I know that is kind of a mixed message because I said I wanted to do that before, but I never made any effort on it. We refinanced in January of 2021 and went to a 2.3% interest rate. So I'm so glad we did that then, because I know the interest rates are a lot higher now. My financial planner is like, hey, don't be in a rush to pay that off, because the money is making more, you know, if you were to invest it than that. I don't know if that's as true of a statement. We just did a financial review with him a couple weeks ago. We're still fine. But, you know, he's like, I understand from a security point of view, you just want to pay your house off. I go, I do. I just don't want a house payment anymore. So that's kind of where that's at. But this is my review of 2022. Now let's roll right into 2023. So this is my new budgeting sheet. I kind of took a look at sinking funds, cash envelopes, everything. I kind of walked away from cash envelopes because I felt like I was putting money in and taking money out. But honestly, I need that physical put it in, take it out for me to kind of control my spending. Because when I'm not doing that and I'm just swiping my credit card, and I still use my credit card for everything because I do get points and it's just easier for me to manage anymore. There's so many places that I go to now that do not accept cash, like my doctor's offices, things like that. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to use my card. I just need to physically see the money come in and go out. And that's just me. And I think that's what's so important with budgeting. You need to do what makes sense for you, your family. You know, money is very emotional. So you kind of have to take that moment to say, what motivates me to get out of debt? What helps me to stay on track with my budget? What is kind of my triggers that makes me go off the rails on my budget? So I have done a lot of that kind of thinking over the last couple of months to really look at what my spending is. So this is my new sheet, and I'm gonna kind of walk you through the numbers here. So what I did when I stopped doing my envelopes, I had a lot of money in sinking fund. I had taken already a lot back to put it back in the bank because my husband didn't like having that much cash at the house, which I understand, but I still had money in my envelope. So instead of just leaving it there and holding it, I took it all, deposited into Capital One savings account as what I called my general fund. So those were everything that didn't have their own fund, like Christmas had its own account and gifts has its own account, but there was a lot of sinking funds that I had in cash that didn't have their own account, nor did they really warrant it. So I just created what I called my general fund. So you're going to see how I broke those back out. This is my 2023 book. It is the Erin Condren Deluxe Monthly. It is the Flora, I think it's called the Flora one. It's very muted, kind of matches my background actually. I have gone ahead and set up, but I haven't put the numbers yet in my yearly. So this is what my yearly budget looks like. I write in my estimates, which are the numbers that are, here it is. These numbers over here, I divide them by 12, and then that's what I put in for my estimate. And that way I know that, hey, on the average for water, we pay $134. So I know I'm pretty safe. It may be a little bit more, a little bit less, but that's a good average for us. So I wrote down all of my bills. These are all of my subscriptions. Again, these can all go away if I need them to. I just don't want them to, but if I need them to, they definitely can. And then this is the yearly setup. And so what I do every year, every month when I'm setting up my budget, I just look back and say, what did I pay for these things in the month of January, May, September? And that helps me when I'm estimating my expenses. So I don't have to go back and look on my app. I don't have to go back and look at my email. It's all right here. Then sinking funds are going to be here. So this will be January, February, and I haven't finished them yet because I've added and subtracted so many times. Like this is all, you know, really the reason why I put stickers on here because I had to white out so much, even though I used erasable pen. So I'm still kind of working on these. I think I've decided, but I'm changing my binders around and kind of changing around how I'm doing my sinking funds. But there are ones I'm going to keep in cash, and there's ones that will go into my general fund or into their savings account. So each month will be set up here once I finalize everything. So that takes me to this one. So this should look vaguely familiar. I kind of change it around every, probably at least once a year. Sometimes I will have it in portrait mode. Sometimes I have it like this. So I went ahead and went like this. And this just kind of helps to guide me as I'm setting up my budget so I don't forget things. So for income, our income really has stayed the same. My husband has a pension that he gets every month. And then mine is a little bit more irregular, so it's been very consistent. I'll work overtime one week and then not the next week, but I always have at least my 40 hours. So that part really hasn't changed with me not pulling from my retirement. Now, if February 16th rolls around and they tell me that they're not renewing my contract, then I just start pulling again and I'll pull that same amount from my retirement. So it's $48.50 and $48.50. So I just take ours together and divide it in two. My daughter normally pays me $210 a month. She is moving out in January, so I gave her a 6-month pause. So I'll be covering that for her. And then incremental is anything that we have that comes in that is above and beyond this. So if I work 4 weeks of overtime, I'm going to have more than the $48.50 coming in. So then I will put that there and then put that where it needs to go. Oh, I take that back. We do pull from our medical spending. So this will be the last month that I pull from medical spending because I can pull a little bit, but this fund is going to exhaust. So I'm going to have to absorb that medical cost into my budget. So $48.50 plus $48.50 plus $19.34, $11,634. Now, I have been for the last year saving 10% of my income. So I don't consider the medical spending account or what Megan paid me as income, because those are just paying me back. So I have been pulling $970 out. I'm just gonna make it an easy 1,000 just because it's like $30 more and it's 1,000. So I'll take 1,000 and put it into my savings account. I do that on the first. I just do a transfer right over. Now I have a goal of my emergency savings account of $30,000. Now my husband's part of our income comes in every month. Never a variation. It's, you know, state retirement is deposited, you know, the day before the first. So when I'm looking at having like a 6-month cushion, I don't worry about his part. I worry about my part of the income. So I want to have $30,000 in this savings account that's attached to my checking account. And currently I have $24,000. So even though I was not filming, I was still taking everything that I could and moving it over to savings. So when this one gets to $30,000, then I will probably redirect this either onto my house payment or into another sinking fund that I want to save for. The 100 envelope challenge, I am going to do that again this year. When I stopped filming, I had $2,000 in that fund. I took it and put it into my vacation to the beach house that we are renting for July. So that money that was in there has already been rolled over to that. So I'm starting at 0. So I don't know what's gonna go in here, because this is anything left in my envelopes or additional money that comes in goes into this 100 envelope challenge. I'm going to skip sinking funds for right now. These are my current balances or my goals that I have. So on this sheet, it has my current balances, but this is what my goals are for each fund. So if, for example, Christmas has $1,000 in it, so I really need to budget $3,000 over the year to get to my $4,000 goal. And then once that's funded, I move to another fund. So that's just kind of the way those long-term ones help me, because I always want to know every month, like, what do I need to fund it so it's funded on time? So let's go through the expenses first. And these are what I, call my 4 walls. Like, I can't avoid these. So my mortgage is normally $3,100. I am now paying $3,300 a month. And that is taking one extra payment, dividing it by the 12 months and adding that into principal. So that's another $260 that it goes towards my principal. So it's like making one extra payment. So it's amazing how one extra payment can help you. My HOA is due this month. It's now gone up to $230 from $225. My phone bill is $260. This is something we definitely need to review. Electricity, based on last year and where I'm tracking, so in my app I can look and see exactly what is tracking to be. I'm going to put 120 in. My water bill has been about 100, so I'm just going to put 100. So I'll put my estimated down and then my actual down. Southwest gas has been about 50 because it is winter. Netflix is 16, HBO Plus is 10, Hulu is 15. DirecTV is our streaming service instead of cable. Life insurance is 106, that's for my husband and I. Medical insurance is $13.63. Pest control, I put 30 a month away. We'll have service next month. Car wash is 25. Gym is 55. This has gone up a little bit, and internet is 120. So these are all my fixed expenses that I really don't have a lot of choice in paying them. I kind of have to pay them. But definitely can review them, and we've really tried to make an effort to keep reviewing them on a regular basis so that we weren't paying things more than we should. And it was a huge eye-opener when we redid our homeowners and our auto insurance. We really were not paying correctly. Our homeowners insurance, we were with Geico for both. It was amazing how bad it was. Like, we were not anywhere near we wouldn't have been able to rebuild our house. Let's just put it that way. Our auto insurance, on the other hand, it just slowly went up every year, and we had been with them for 10 years. And I hear a lot of YouTubers like, all of a sudden my insurance went up 500. And I'm like, exactly. So it's just so slight, like every paycheck, just, you know, every month went up a little bit. And when we stopped and looked at it, it was really frightening. So that one is been redone. So 5909. So when we get over to lifestyle, I've been budgeting $300 for groceries. So I'm going to put, I'm sorry, $600. $300 in cash and $300 for online. Because we do HelloFresh like two weeks out of the month. And then the rest we are doing, you know, grocery shopping. So I kind of split up that way. So this will be cash and this will be left in the account. Eating out, $200. Spending $200, which is about $50 a week. I'm going to put $100 for my mom. Honestly, she's at the stage right now that we just bought her a bunch of new clothes. She's really not, she's just been eating what's there. She has not been picky about it. So if you're new to my channel, my mom is in a memory support facility. And she, in the beginning when she was there, she still liked to go out and she still liked us to bring her food. And so I always kind of kept a fund for her. And now it's really just replacing things that have worn out, and she's really not touching the food that we bring in. Entertainment is $100. Miscellaneous, I always put $100, and then personal care, $200. So personal care for me personally is, I don't like to get my nails done, but I do like pedicures, I get massages, things like that. So haircuts, anything like that goes into my personal care. Gas, because I work from home, I don't drive very often, but I know my husband takes my car a lot, so I'll put $200 there. Giving, $400. Household, $100. And then medicine, I put $100. So I used to just put like $50 and then it would just be mine. But I find that I pick up my husband's prescriptions a lot. So if I just keep $100 in there, that pretty much covers it for the month. Sterling ink subscription is $36. Planner spot is $35. Elements for massage is $80. And Audible is $16. This month I am paying, in January I am paying for my Amazon Prime, but that money was already put away in my general sinking fund, so that's where that money will be pulled from. Okay, so lifestyle, 2,107. Yeah, that makes sense. 12. Okay. I'm like, how did I get a 7? Okay. Savings is 1,000. So I back into my sinking fund. So if I take my income of 11,634 and I subtract out my fixed expenses of 5,909 and my lifestyle and my savings, that gives me for sinking funds 2,618. Now, this is where I think this is the best part of my budget, because this is where I feel like I get to spend money or save money where I want it to go, and it kind of helps me to achieve my savings goals. So I always start over here because these are kind of like my must do, and then when I get to my other ones, they're things that I know that are coming up that I need to fund, but you'll see where I'm starting the fund and what I need to add in order to get there on a due date. Like I'm doing a bridal baby shower for my daughter in February. I know I want to have $500 there. I've already bought her all of her gifts. She had a budget and she went a little bit over her budget. Some of that's my fault because I keep buying things for the baby. But in the meantime, I know, like, okay, in February, I'm going to do a baby shower for her. And my other daughter is moving out and moving into an apartment in January. Like, she's not moving out of the house. It sounds like she lived here, but she was living with somebody else, and now she's moving in with somebody else. So I know that there's things I want to help her with in the move because it's so expensive. to move. So I kind of in my mind say, okay, I need to put money here, put money there. So just so that you kind of understand where my thought process goes. So car maintenance, I put $200 a month in, and that is towards my yearly bill for insurance. So we pay for the full year. So if I put $200 a month away in August when that bill is due, I'll have the $2,400, you know, saved up. Christmas, so 3,000, because I already have 1,000 in there, divided by, I'm gonna put 10 months. Okay, I shouldn't have had to do math. It's $300 a month I need to fund Christmas to be able to have the 4,000 there in the month of November. General fund, you're gonna see what goes in there in just a moment. Gifts, I think I put money there. Home refresh, we're good until we start getting things done. Medical, the baby shower, you're gonna see where I put that. So I had a baby shower and a bridal shower. So my older daughter is gonna get married in 2024, so I've already started saving for the wedding. Technology, vacation is funded right now, and then the wedding, you see that there. So let's go over to the breakout, and this is where it's gonna be a little bit harder to see because there's a lot of ones here. Bring it in just a little bit. Okay, so we had 2,618. I've already accounted for 500. So that's 2,118 that we have to kind of play with. So when I look at these, let's kind of put this together here. Here's my beginning balances. So my general fund, which is beauty, Black Friday, clothing, dental, fun times, glasses, journal supplies, planning supplies. So these are things that had envelopes, but I always used them online, so I stopped doing envelopes for them. So all of these, here's what my goal is, here's what I have in there. So for an example, Amazon Prime, my goal was 140, I have 140. So I don't need to put anything there because I'm not going to be paying that again until next year. Here are my envelopes. There are some that kind of need a little bit of attention. My anniversary is in February. The birthdays I fund every month so that the money is there when it's time for their birthdays. Here's different holidays. I know for my daughter's dog, I need to add money there because I offered to pay for his shots. And then down here, these same funds are what you see on my front page. So let's go ahead and figure this out. Like, I know I need to put money into the baby shower. So currently I have 0. My goal is 500. So I'm going to put 300 in this month and 200 in next month. So take that 300 out. Car maintenance, I already accounted for the 200 over there, but I'll put it over here just so I have it. Christmas, 300. Okay, now this category right here, so my anniversary is next month. I wanted 200, so I'm going to put 100. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to put over here. This is cash. This section right here is cash envelopes. Arts and crafts, I don't have anything. I'm going to put 50 in there. So for my birthday, I have 100. I have to put, let's see. I've got 7 months and I need 500. So there's 100, so 400. So 400 divided by 7, $60 in my birthday, 60 in my daughter's birthday because we both have July birthdays. My husband's is empty, so I'm going to put 100 in his. Family is empty, so I'll put 50 in that. And then my son-in-law's birthday is February. There's 200 in there. I'll put 100 in that. And my nieces and nephews, that's their kids, there's 90 in that right now, and I'll put 50 in there. Okay, so let me just re-add 100 plus 50 plus 60 plus 50 plus 60 plus 100 plus 50 plus 100 plus 300 plus 200 plus 300. So we spent $13.70 out of $26.18. Okay. So let's keep going here. Okay, I'm gonna kind of jump up right now because I think all of these are more future. Well, Easter's in April this year, so that can wait. Family barbecue no, I'm gonna put 50 in there because that seems to add up fast. So I have a grandbaby fund. So if you don't know, my daughter is having a baby. This will be my first grandchild. So I'm kind of just starting a fund for her. So when I'm watching her and she needs something, or I see something at the store for her, then I can pick that up and I don't need to try to figure out where that money is going to come from. For Liam and Milo, which are my daughter's dogs, I did offer to pay for his shot, so I do need to put $300 in there. There's currently $70 in there. And then Valentine's Day, I have 140. I just need to put 10 in there. St. Patrick's Day, that's coming up. I'll put 50. Halloween doesn't matter. Date night has 60. I need to put another 60. Household is empty. I'll put 100. So I have household here twice. I have it in my envelopes, and then I have like a longer sinking fund. So my longer sinking fund for household is sheets, towels, things like that you have to replace. My regular household is paper towels, toilet paper, stuff like that. Just so you kind of understand the difference. Okay, so let me re-add this. So 100 plus 50 plus 60 plus 50 plus 60 plus 100 plus 50 plus 100 50 300 10 50 60 100. I'm going to put 1140 there plus 300 200 and 300. That's 800 there. Okay, so that takes me to 1940, so we still have about another 700 that we can play with. I may go back and put more into this shower, but let's see where we're at. So I don't need to put anything into Black Friday. I totally exhausted that fund. Clothing has 360, that's fine. Dental, because that is something I'm going to need to be doing soon. So 200 goes in there. That's 200. Fun times, not getting anything. Glasses, I have 200. I'm going to add another 100 because I know that I'm going to need them probably in March again. I'm not putting anything in journal or planning supplies. I spent way too much money. Tax prep, I do need to step up on because that's due in April. So I'm going to put $100 there. Wellness is fine. Vitamins are fine. Prime, I'm paying now. These are fine. Taxes is fine. Okay, so I still have another minus 26, 18. I still have another 278. I'm going to add that to the shower. Okay, so 278 plus 300, so 578 will go into the shower. Now I did want to put into the wedding, but I'm not going to this month because I have other expenses, and then as soon as the baby shower is over with, then I can start looking at what I need to put into the wedding. So my daughter and I have already kind of talked about her wedding budget. My younger daughter, when she got married 4 years ago, we just sat down with them, gave them a budget. We cash flowed it because, you know, I didn't want them to have debt. We didn't want to have debt. So we just really had to shop around and things like that. Now I know things are a lot more expensive now. My older daughter wants it more in a venue, where my other daughter wanted it in a backyard, and was kind enough, these people allowed us to borrow their backyard, which was great. So I want to be able to give her the wedding that she would like, but I also want to stay within a budget. So we've already kind of had that first conversation. Our next conversation will be with my husband and her fiance / boyfriend. They're not engaged yet. They're going to get engaged in a couple months. So we're just kind of laying the groundwork and getting the budget set up. So what I'll do now is before the first of the month, I will take all this information, transfer it into here, and then I will go to the bank and get the cash for the month. So I have already set up my planner for January. This is the kit that I used, and I do have some definite goals for this year. I never had really goals for last year for spending. I did, you know, so many no spend days, things like that, but I have no problem like not worrying about my no spend days. And then I'll set up, like here I started to write in the expenses, my variable expenses, my paychecks, income, things like that, my savings challenges. This will be my weekly check-in, so that should look very familiar. Then my sinking funds will be listed here, and then this kind of gives me, this is what I'm starting with, this is what I added, this is what I use, and this is what my ending balance is. So every month, at the end of the month, I reconcile all of my sinking funds, and that's just so that everything is where I think it's supposed to be, and if I spent more money than I thought, I need to account for that. And then I always keep a transaction log. Sometimes this goes on to multiple pages. So it might go on to this page. It might even go on to this page. But I am trying to have less transactions and write them down, not necessarily on here, but definitely on a piece of paper. So that will be my January budget setup. And we'll see how it goes. It'll be nice feeling accountable to my budget again, because I really have spent a lot more money than I had planned to do on journaling supplies, you know, I love craft supplies, all those things. So, you know, we had the extra money and I spent it, and now I feel like I'm overwhelmed with all the stuff that I have right now. So I really am looking at two different things. So I will go more into my yearly budget goals or my annual money goals in another video, because this one's already very long, so I might have to cut this one down. But I feel like it's important for me personally to have financial goals and to hold myself accountable for the financial goals, because it's one thing to feel comfortable with your budget and stay on the budget, but it's another thing to actually feel like you're moving forward in using your money in the best way possible. And that's really what I want to do for 2023. And I think it's kind of was the thing that was missing in 2022, is I didn't have big goals. We weren't paying off debt. We really weren't focused on paying our house down. We kind of were just in that we got to pay our everyday bills, and it's total change of income for us last year. And so we really just had to establish our new normal. And now that we feel very comfortable with our new normal, now's the time to step it up and go back into looking at our goals. So thank you so much for watching. If you have made it all the way through my video, please drop either a $sign or a money bag into the comment section. I like to do surprise giveaways, so FYI. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and let me know if you have any questions.